To the mayor, I didn't know he was going to record the council of the whole.
We are live.
Okay, all right, we're live. Okay. The Village of Lincoln Heights Committee of the Whole meeting is now in session. Today's date is Monday, April 27th. The time is now 7:06. Roll call, Ms. Randolph.
Mayor Ruby Kinsey Mumfree,
Present.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson,
Present.
Councilman Durance Daniels,
Present.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter,
Present.
Councilwoman Phyllis Baber, absent. Councilwoman Kathy Goodwin Williams,
Present.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell, absent. We have 5 who are present, 2 who are absent. We do have a quorum.
All right, so what I have is old business. At the end of the day today, we got a final update on the COVID-19. So I had Ms. Randolph send you all an email. I don't know if Mr. Duke is able to, if he received it so he could share it online, but I'm gonna read it again, actually, when we have the regular council meeting. But Governor DeWine today, he came on at 2 o'clock today, and he did an update, responsible protocols for getting back Ohio to work. So it looks like he has 5 protocols for all the businesses. And we're gonna make sure, actually, Mr. Thornhill is putting that on the website as we speak, and we'll be listing that. But basically they're saying no mask, no work, no service, and no exceptions for any businesses that you go into, which I'm very glad that they're gonna do that. Also, they're gonna be conducting daily health assessments when it comes to employers and employees, which they're doing a self-evaluation to determine if they are fit for duty, and maintaining the good hygiene at all times, the hand washing and social distancing that we already know that. And step 4 was clean and sanitize the workplaces throughout the workday at the close of business or between the shifts. They still will be having the limit capacity to meet the social distancing guidelines. So this is what, I don't know if you all could see that. This is what came across today on the decision that Governor DeWine has taken the first step for the state of Ohio. Anybody have any questions regarding it?
I do, Mayor.
Yes, Vice Mayor.
So are we going to have our businesses post this and make sure that they know that in order to run a business, you need to wear a mask and the guidelines? Because I know we're smaller, and I'm sure when they made these decisions, they had larger scale in mind. I'm just thinking, are we requiring our mom and pop stores and restaurants they have to wear a mask?
Yes.
Okay. So are we sending out a letter along with this information, or are we just expecting them to know what the governor is expecting of them?
Well, we just got it like at 5:40, so we're going to be making copies and distributing to the companies. I did talk to Miss Dolores Lindsay, and she's asking for us to get several copies taken down to the health center as well. Miss Randolph will be faxing these to the 5 locations, but I do think we need to stop by those 5 places just to make sure they have it posted.
Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
Who is the we?
Oh, Miss Randolph. Miss Randolph. Miss Randolph, I just so happened to talk to Miss, it was at the very end before I came home that this came across. He sent it like at 5:40, came across the email, but I didn't get a chance to watch the news, the press release at 2 o'clock today, and this is what they wrote out for the protocol.
I saw the document and glanced through it. That will not go to the manager's office to make sure that that gets done. It's the responsibility of the clerk. Just asking.
Well, we when I talked to Ms. Lindsay, I just told her we were going to get some copies down to her. But yes, we can get it to Mr. Dukes isn't here. We'll make sure to get this to Ms. Donna. But I think Vienna's already posted it because she's the one that also sent the copy as well to us. So she's already began to post it in the village, and so she has the original copy that came out.
Okay, you can email that document to the health center.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to even enter the building, just send it to Mrs. Lindsay.
Yeah.
Mayor,
Yes.
I'm sorry, were you done, Ms. Chelsea Stevens?
Mhm.
I was gonna say a robocall might help too, just not anything long, but maybe just to pull out the finer points so that, you know, businesses or people who run businesses in the village can have the specifics of what needs to happen in their business in terms of
Yeah.
PPE.
Speaking of the robocall, we had problems with the robocall this weekend, and I actually talked to a gentleman this afternoon because it wouldn't even allow us to go through. So I talked to him, and he said that they had problems with their malware with another company that they work together, but nothing that we have was compromised. But that's why no robocall was made for the food pantry, and so he's saying possibly today or tomorrow, we should be able to go in and do the robocalls like we've always done.
Okay, and Mayor, I will have Ms. Pope instruct Vianne to send them out, work with Ms. D. I think she already has the business addresses to send that out to the businesses directly as well.
Okay. So Mr. Duke, with the Sheriff's Department, as we had talked previously, will they be going past the businesses, making sure that that these postings are listed and that it's being enforced?
I would have to talk with Lieutenant Boeing to see what the strategy is at this point. I haven't seen anything come down from the sheriff's office as of yet regarding the opening. So I'll be talking with him and Captain Butler in the next day or so to see what their plans are.
Okay. All right. Hi, Miss Baber. Good to see you. Let the record show Miss Baber is in the meeting, please.
And Councilwoman
Mitchell.
Mitchell as well.
And Miss Mitchell, I
Yes.
think she can't speak on there. Let me open up her mic.
She,
She got herself muted? Okay.
Yes.
It looks like it.
So
There
maybe,
now
you
she's
go.
off.
Mr. Dukes, if the sheriff office doesn't necessarily put out anything to say this is what he would like for his department to do, is that something that we can ask them to do, even if that is not something that the entire department is doing throughout the county?
Well, I think, yes, we can, but I think basically it will align with, you know, what everyone else is doing and what the governor's directives are. So I don't foresee it being a problem to ask them to go out
Okay,
and check some of the businesses as a routine check, you know, as
Okay.
opposed to just kind of standing in one area, just kind of move around and make sure and perhaps talk to some of the business owners.
Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Dukes, maybe it might be helpful if they kept a couple of copies in their car. That way, when they're asking friends to move it along, that they give them the guidelines. Maybe well, here's a copy of it. I'm not ticketing you. I just, so we can all stay safe, just to keep a positive, friendly relationship between the sheriff and our residents. We don't want them to, you know.
Good
Yeah,
idea. I
but
mean,
just-
it'll limit the conversation if they had those handouts. So I'll instruct Vianne to make sure that they have those in their vehicles as well and provide them copies of it.
Anything else?
show me how to make it see everybody.
Miss Mitchell.
My
Oh,
grandbaby
yes, Miss.
said,
Oh,
Our school was over at 2.
Daniels.
I was just trying to help Miss Laverne. She was asking how to see everybody, your menu
But
button.
I just let her do it because she wants to be in the way.
Okay.
I'm just making it bigger because
Okay,
Oh.
thank you.
Okay. Since we're talking about the COVID-19, I did want to talk about Mayor's Court and put that in there. So we're beginning to have discussion on what Mayor's Court is going to look like on May 13th. That's if it's gonna open or not. We are looking at Hamilton County and the other municipalities. I did have an email conversation with Mr. Dukes as far as maybe we may have to have a plexiglass shield
Yes,
for
ma'am.
us when it comes to Mayor's Court. We're talking about only allowing 5 people in Mayor's Court and have them lined outside 6 feet. And then we possibly may have to, as they leave, because it's gonna be hard trying to manipulate who's on when they call out the docket. So we may have to look at having walkie-talkies with the officers so they can let us know who is in line. So we're looking at that to see how it's gonna roll off. I will be talking to the prosecutor and the magistrate as well.
Okay, and Mayor, something else that Ms. Pope and I was talking about earlier today is the potential to also have some of the face shields in the event that someone would like one of those to wear during the Mayor's Court as well. Or if you like the plexiglass in front of your area, then we'll make that happen just the same. So
Yeah.
we're just trying to make sure we have those options available.
Right. So we'll look at signs saying we'll have to have a mask to enter the building, things like that as well. So they will know what to expect when they come inside the building. It just depends on what Governor DeWine and Hamilton County, the court system, decides how they're going to proceed.
Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
just
Ms.
in
Stillman.
reference to that, how do we ensure that when coming to Mayor's Court, that they don't use the excuse, well, I don't have a mask? So will we be able to provide a mask for them, or, because you know that's going to be the excuse, I don't have one?
We may have to look at what we can afford and what's out there. It depends on the availability. You may have to get them some bandanas. It just depends on what's out there. I'm serious, because if we can't get the mask, if they're giving them all to fire EMS, we have to find another type of masking for them as in case they don't have any.
Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I think it's our responsibility to buy some if they're saying that in order to have a business or operation, you got to wear a mask. We got to buy them for our people anyhow. So why not just buy it in bulks for that occasion, right? Don't we have to have them?
I agree.
Yeah. Well, Mayor, again, Ms. Pope and I were talking about that today, and she has located some masks. We talked about the potential to at least buy a couple, 100 or so, you know, in the event that people coming to Mayor's Court don't have any, that we could provide those. So Ms.
Right.
Pope is looking into that, and will give us an update when she have those ordered, I guess.
Oh, okay. Councilman Daniels.
In that situation, I'm serious too. Will we be allowed to sell them? If I come to court and I don't have one, will we be able to sell those masks?
No, you
I'm being
can't do that.
serious.
You
I
can't
had
sell.
the same question.
Is that a no?
Hey,
Yeah,
I
you
didn't
can't sell
say
that.
no.
Well, Mayor, that was a question I told Donna that would be a Mr. Desai question as to whether or not it would be legal for us to sell the mask.
You could stand across the street on the other sidewalk, maybe.
Mr. Desai.
Well, you know, I take, I guess, a different view of this. I know that if you are going into businesses, they are asking you or telling you you must wear a mask. So I don't see why our business would be different from anybody else's business. It's the person's responsibility, the citizen's responsibility to wear a mask. Now, they're not requiring, you know, the N95 mask. They're saying just some kind of mask. And, you know, yeah, I mean, I've seen, you know, my son and his friends are making masks out of their old t-shirts. There's a YouTube video that shows you how to cut an old t-shirt, and it actually has, you know, when you cut it, it's got the straps so you can tie it down. So, you know, I'd hope if my my minor child and his friend can figure out how to make a mask, that, you know, people that have been charged with a criminal act, you know, have the same wherewithal to come in with a mask. I think, as you mentioned earlier, when you referenced bandanas, I mean, when I have wore a mask, I've just taken one of my old bandanas and kind of, Lone Ranger style, put it on my face and
Yeah.
gone in, you know. So I think that's all they're asking, is something like that. So, I would recommend that the protocol, be followed, with the idea that, if you are entering a business as a, for lack of a better word, a customer, it's your responsibility, just like it's your responsibility if you have signs of COVID-19 to not go into a business, and to quarantine yourself. That's your responsibility as a citizen of the United States and a resident of Ohio. So, and that really is one of my bigger concerns. I presume at Mayor's Court, there will be the screening done of people coming in. And so, I have yet to see this device, but the device I know of choice is the one that they seem to run across the forehead, and it seems to give you some kind of instant reading. But that would be my bigger concern, because that is, I think, our responsibility, is that, we need to, be able to, however you want to phrase it, test people as they come in, but you need to be able to temperature check them, because even if they're affirming that they don't have COVID-19 symptoms, even if they show up with a face mask, if they're running a temperature, if they're coughing, if they're sneezing, if they've got a runny nose, then they're going to be denied access to Mayor's Court, which is obviously a public forum. At that point, what I think Ms. Ty and Ms. Gaines have to be, in the queue and ready to do, and maybe they need Ms. Terry's help with this, is that you have to be prepared to issue a continuance on the hearing if they are showing a fever. Now, I don't do criminal law, but one of the few things I know about it is there is this right to have your case heard within a certain amount of time. And so the defendant can sign a voluntary waiver allowing the case to be continued without violating that constitutional right. It might make sense to take a look at if there are any Mayor's Courts that have been operating, what they've been doing to handle this. I'd be happy to have Megan Donnellan, who is my colleague and the prosecutor for Mayor's Court in Montgomery. I'd be happy to have her give you a call and let you know how they've been handling that. But that's my bigger concern, is that if somebody does test positive for COVID-19, and I don't mean as in the, the swab test, but, the temperature, I guess a better way to put it is they're showing symptoms of COVID-19.
There you go.
What policies and practices and protocols do we have in place to continue the case, have them sign a voluntary waiver so that they can come back when they're healthy and not a threat to public health, without us getting caught in that constitutional, gotcha game of, oh, well, you continued my case and I didn't agree to come back, and therefore you violated my right to, I'm going to call it a speedy trial. I don't know if it's called that, but you violated that right, and therefore I'm no longer, you have to dismiss the case. So I'm happy to, are you interested in maybe talking to Ms. Donnellan and seeing, how they've been handling it in Montgomery?
Yeah, yes, we are, because I know we only have like 2 more weeks. And so we would like to find out so we can be prepared.
Okay. I'll ask her to give you a call, or maybe it might be easier because Ms. Terry probably needs to be part of that. Send an email to you and Ms. Terry to maybe propose some times when you can all talk on the phone.
Can you also send it to Ms. Rita, because she's the interim at this time?
Rita Watson?
Rita Watson, yes, sir.
Okay, what is her email address? Do you know offhand?
It should be rita.watson@vlho.org.
Read a dot?
I don't think it's that.
Rita.Watson.
Is it a dot?
Or is it R. Watson?
It might be R Watson at
Is
VL.
it R. Watson?
Yeah.
It's
I
not
have to
mentioned.
look.
Well,
I'll look after the meeting and send it to you.
Yeah.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
And Mayor,
Ms. Pope had her hand up.
yeah,
So we had a discussion today, myself and Dee and Vian, about whether we could actually not allow someone in the building if they're not masked. But we had that question, I mean, we had that conversation before DeWine came out with his mandatory rules. So we did go ahead and we looked at ordering the thermometer that reads their forehead, and it would be for a child or adult. And we ordered some gloves, and we ordered some more disposable masks.
Okay,
Thank you, Ms. Pope.
thank you. Answered a lot of questions in one breath.
You should have spoke up earlier.
Yes. All right. Okay, anything else regarding the COVID? Oh, I'm sorry, I did want to mention, I'm gonna announce, so the last email that I got, it lists specific days. Let me see, taking forever. Okay, it's taking forever. I sent you all an email I received, and it lists the total days of when certain businesses can operate. I'll find it because I want to announce it during the regular council meeting. So I'll get that plugged back up in my phone, but I think I did send it to everybody. You would have got it like about 5:40. Okay. All right. New business. Oh, if there's anything else? Okay. All right, new business. Resolution 2020 R12, authorizing the finance director to increase appropriations in the capital improvement fund, municipal road fund projects, and to amend the statement of estimated resources for 2020. Any questions? Okay. Any miscellaneous business? Okay.
Yeah, I guess this is miscellaneous, and you may have already mentioned it because I did talk to Miss Randolph. On our minutes for last week, should state that we need to put that this was done via Zoom?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll go back and put that on our minutes.
Yeah, we'll make a motion to make the necessary corrections. Okay, all right.
Just real quick, I'm sorry, real quick question. Just off the CARES Act email that we got from Sheriff Brown's office and Miss Leah Brown, Mr. Dukes. Didn't know if you had got that email. Just as I know we were talking about, I'm pointing this way because that's where you're at, Miss Donna. I'm sorry, but when Miss Donna was talking about how we were purchasing certain things, those funds they come out of that, right? Like the whole process of being refunded, and or just using those funds to purchase those things. Not sure. Did you get the email, Mr. Dukes? From Miss?
I don't recall. It doesn't.
Okay, I saw. Okay, I'll forward it to you now. I'll just make sure because I thought that you were on that you all were on it as well. But I'll make sure you get there. The headline of it was Sheriff Brown's CARES Act. And it just goes into just municipal funding and just how those things. I'll make sure I send it to everybody. Actually,
I think we sent that.
Yeah, I thought so. And I was just, So, but I'll make sure, and then we could just rap about it later. I was just curious if that was all tied in together.
So,
is your question
the fund? So I was asking. So I know right now, I think it's coming out of just probably the general fund. But if I'm reading this correctly, everything that we spend out of that, I don't know if we need to make another tagline. That's above my pay grade. But all I'm saying about, if I'm understanding everything we spend that's directly goes to COVID-19, whether it's masks, whether it's gloves, anything that we need.
Yeah, I've instructed Ms. Pope to track all the costs that we're expending during this time. so that when funding becomes available, we can submit for reimbursement.
Yeah, so the email subject will be Brown secures commitment from White House. I'm sending that to everybody now, so just to make sure, and then from there we can just
All
So
right.
thank you.
Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
also, we want to make sure that we keep track of everything. That would include that, the letter to the sheriff. That would also be like, Exhibit A or Exhibit B once they release money to local government as, proof that we need funds. Am I correct, Mr. Dukes?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, and we'll address it at the regular meeting a little more in detail.
Okay, all right, okay. Anything else? Any other miscellaneous business? All right, motion to adjourn. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So move for adjournment.
Second.
It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any nays? All right, so we're gonna go on into the regular council meeting unless someone needed to take a break. Nope, we're gonna keep on moving. All right, so we're gonna go into the regular council meeting. The Village of Lincoln Heights regular council meeting is now in session. Today's date is Monday, April 27th. The time is now 7:33. Roll call, Ms. Randolph.
Mayor Ruby Kenzie Mumfree,
Present.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson,
Present.
Councilman Durance Daniels,
Present.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter,
Take you. Unmute yourself.
I did. Present.
okay. Councilwoman Phyllis Baber. She's muted as well. Ms. Baber,
Bottom left-hand corner with the microphone, Ms. Baber, I'm sorry. Bottom left-hand corner.
should I come back to her?
Could you do for the record shows?
She'll figure it out. Yeah.
You have your host there. He can do it.
I can't get it off of there.
Yeah, I'll see if I can.
Unmute her.
Let's see here. Let's see.
There you go.
Ms. Baber, are you present? I need you to acknowledge.
Yes, I'm present.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman Kathy Goodwin Williams
Present.
and Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell.
Present.
We have 7 who are present. We do have a quorum.
Okay, is there a motion ordered for acceptance of the agenda?
Motion to accept.
Second.
It's been moved in second to accept the agenda. Motion order for filing of the journal for committee of the whole meeting minutes and regular council meeting minutes for Monday. I'm sorry, let me go back. Motion order for committee of the whole meeting minutes for March 9th. And regular council meeting minutes for Monday, April 13th. Is that a typo?
No,
Ms. Randolph? Okay. All right.
I had sent out the committee of the whole meeting minutes. I sent an email explaining to everyone how I had initially sent it to Mr. Dukes on the 14th of April. And I was going through my emails to make sure that everyone also had it. But when I didn't see that, I submitted them to everyone, that they were prepared on April 14th or before April 14th, because I sent it out to Mr. Dukes. And I sent that email to Mr. Dukes to everyone to see that it was sent out.
Okay. All right, I got
So
you.
we did not approve those minutes at the April meeting?
We didn't have the committee on the whole at the April meeting or earlier, the April 13th
I had to think
meeting.
about it. I had
We
to
only
think
had
about it.
council.
Yeah. That's why I had to look. I had to look again. I said, oh yeah, we did not have one. That was our first Zoom meeting. Thinking, second Zoom meeting. All right, is there a motion to accept it with the necessary corrections?
Motion.
Second.
It's been moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Announcements. Councilman Daniels. Oh, unmute. He's muted. He just a talking. Mr. Duke, are you unable to?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was trying to get this thing out in front of my screen here so I can read my announcements. But just real quick, so
Information for what?
my grandfather first off was wanted to thank Mr. Dukes. He wanted to thank you as mayor. He also wanted to thank the fire department and the village of Lincoln Heights as a whole for the wonderful birthday parade celebration. So he just definitely wanted to say thank you. And then once we kind of get things back in order and we have people able to come back to the public, he wants to thank everybody personally. But he wanted to make sure that I thanked everybody for that. And just real quick, I just wanted to talk about the meal distribution this week, just if we had anybody interested. So on tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., lunch will be provided at Lincoln Heights Elementary School. That's 113 Adams Street. And then tomorrow evening from 5 to 6:30, Chick-fil-A will be provided at St. Monica's. And then Wednesday from 5 to 6:30, LHOI will have their Cafe Hope dinner at St. Monica's. Then Thursday, you can pick up groceries at the food pantry from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then Thursday, we also have lunch from 11 a.m. at 1 p.m. That'll be at Lincoln Heights Elementary School. And then Thursday evening, dinner will be provided by Forever Kings at St. Monica's. And then Friday from 11 to 1, come get lunch by Habitat Humanity at St. Monica's, enter in from Douglas Street. So those are all the announcements I have, Madam Mayor.
Okay. All right, Ms. Childs Jeter,
Here.
any announcement for you?
Yes, I do, but Ms. Randolph is trying to get your attention.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mayor. I just wanted to see if I could get Councilman Daniels to forward it again to me via email, the listing of what he read. Thank you.
Sorry about
Okay, my announcement is a great big old thank everyone for all that you're doing in order to keep us healthy and fed and safe. Great big old hug to all of you. Be blessed.
All right.
And to the fire department and to the sheriff.
All right. Miss Councilwoman Baber, any announcement?
Oh, no announcements. Thank you.
Okay. Councilwoman Goodwin Williams.
Yes, just the next economic development meeting will take place on May 4th at 6:30 p.m. Here on Zoom.
Okay.
Oh, and you still have one more day to vote. You can still drop your ballot off until tomorrow at the Hamilton County Board of Elections. Please vote. Thank you.
All right. Vice Mayor Stinson.
I have no announcements.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell.
Yes, ma'am. I want to announce that we are expecting to continue with our regular Valley Pantry this Saturday. It is to be at Lincoln Heights Missionary Baptist Church. I'm not sure how that's going to work out because of Mayor Farley's service, but as far as we know, we're still going to have the pantry, the usual time, 9 to 11. It is the first pantry of our usual season. So the Valley Pantry will be continuing for the season, the first Saturday of every month. And of course, we'll have it at different churches. And hopefully we'll have our robocall up so that we'll be able to announce it in case there is a change of location for Saturday.
All right. Mr. Dukes, any announcement for you?
Mayor, I just want to thank, everyone for the well wishes during this time. So definitely looking forward to getting back in the saddle. And I'd like to thank Ms. Pope for all the work that she's been doing thus far. And uh, that's all I have.
Okay, all right. The announcement that I wanted to give was regarding the COVID with Governor DeWine's announcement today. He announced that May 1st would be the state will begin a phased-in reopening of the state economy. May 1st, all health procedures that do not require an overnight stay in the hospital, veterinary practices, dental practices, and doctor offices. May 4th, manufacturing, distribution, and construction. And May 12th, consumer, retail, and services. So they will be no mask, no work, no service, and no exceptions. And we will be doing a robocall once our line has been fixed through the community bank system. So we will be making a robocall, and we'll be getting out the brochures that the governor sent out regarding the stay at home, the social distancing, and reopening the community. We will be making sure that every business gets this information so we can prepare to have masks in the village and masks, making sure that the businesses within the village of Lincoln Heights are allowing just mask only coming to their establishment. That's the announcement that I have. Okay. All right. All right. Ms. Randolph, did you have any hearing from the residents?
No, not this week.
All righty. Next is the regular agenda, communications to council from the clerk of council, Lisa Randolph.
Nothing at this time, Mayor.
Thank you. Okay. I don't have any further communication at this time, except that Mayor's Court is due to resume on May 13th, but additional posting will be listed on the robocall and posting at the 5 locations regarding Mayor's Court. Communication from the village manager, Mr. Anthony Dukes.
Yes, Mayor. Just like to announce that the Hamilton County Planning and Development have released a call for grant applications for the mini planning grant. However, due to the COVID-19 situation, they've noted that they will not be selecting outside contractors to do the work, but instead the Planning and Development Department will be assisting communities that are awarded with doing the studies and things of that nature. So I'm in the process of putting the application together. I'll send it to the Economic Development Chair to see how she would like to proceed. And then it's perfect timing that the meeting is May 4th, so we can finalize everything there, and look forward to submit it the following day. I sent forth a letter to the Sheriff Department discussing or requesting reduction in fees, and perhaps even how that will affect the services as well. But we've been in discussion. I've been speaking with Captain Butler and Major Kettleman about the financial shortfall that this COVID-19 stay-at-home situation is going to create for all the municipalities and counties and businesses as well. So that's one of the things. I submitted the letter. You all should have a copy of that letter. That's a draft copy. I submitted it to you all so that if you have any comments or something that you think is missing, but that right there was basically to notify the Sheriff Department so that we can at least begin the conversation to see how that fee structure and service would look once we begin to feel the economic impact of this COVID-19 situation.
Okay. Is there any questions for Mr. Duke, Vice Mayor?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Dukes, do we have any other contractors or people that we need to write a letter to? In other words, do we need to juggle some other things as well? The reason why I'm asking, because if they do send some money down our way, we want to make sure that we at the head of the table when it's time. We won't have all our ducks in a row. So if we need something, we need to go ahead and ask for it.
Yeah,
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am, Vice Mayor. And the follow-up to that letter to the sheriff is I'm putting together a memo to the council that will begin to outline some of these costs that we're going to have to reduce or look at reducing due to COVID-19 and what that'll look like. So that'll give us some accountability moving forward when we begin to request that money. So I should have that together this week. Again, I'd like to thank the Sheriff Department for reaching out to the village. They reached out to me and they did provide this information and some assistance in moving on these costs. So I definitely like to thank them for doing so.
That's a plus.
Any other?
I do, Mayor, sorry. You all should have the news that we did receive the Census Rapid Response Grant. So we're in the process of, Ms. Pope submitted the survey response today. We're looking to receive the MOU within 3 days, and we're gonna have to execute that and get it back to them. And at that time, once we submit all the requested forms, they'll deposit the money within our bank account, and we can begin spending it up until I think what was that, September 2020 that we have, being that the census outreach and collection was extended until that time. So we did get that, and I didn't want to send out the old application because they may have reduced some things or just are not fully awarded everything we requested. So I'd like to see what they're gonna provide to us in this MOU, because it's gonna outline our original request and talk about what they actually funded. So as soon as we get that, I'll make sure that the council gets it and we can go ahead and make moves to secure that funding and make the upgrades and the outreach efforts that are necessary for this census project.
Okay. All right, any questions? Hey, Vice
Yeah.
Mayor.
Okay, I got something else too, man. Go ahead.
This was with the census. Oh, okay. I'll forget.
Okay, well, we also received the award letter back from Department of Natural Resources today as well for the Memorial Field Grant. So we're looking to get started on that as well. So a lot of things happening all at once. So we're excited that we did receive those two and are hopeful that we'll get the mini planning grant. That's all I have at this time, Mayor, if there are any questions.
Mayor,
I think the Vice Mayor had a question, then we'll come back to Ms. Jeter.
I read the NLC grant. Will that change the scope of what we asked for?
They didn't say anything about changing the scope. I know they were talking about they reduced the staffing levels in some of the grants that were submitted so that they could award more, and they were leaning more towards the technology and things that we did actually request. And we only had some minimal staffing costs involved. So we're hopeful that we'll get everything we asked for pretty much.
Ms. Charles Jeter.
thank you to Mr. Dukes and to Ms. Pope. Thank you for submitting that grant, but I do need copies too. Whatever you get back to incorporate it into my regional report that I have to do for AKA, including Lincoln Heights Missionary Baptist Church.
We'll do so.
Thank you.
Okay. Any questions for the Vice, for Mr. Dukes? Okay. Somebody having some good music. All right. Next would be Fire Chief Amos. Are you on the line? You may have to unmute him.
Is he on? He's on the line. There
Hello.
he is.
Hello, Chief Amos.
How are you, Mayor and
I'm
Council?
fine. Hello, how are
Hello.
you?
Good, good. Is my video not on?
No.
Turn your camera on. Can you get it?
You might have to try it, Mr. Dukes. It's not letting me do it. Start your video.
There you
are.
Okay, there we go.
Hey.
There we go. Hello. Now I'm here.
Hello.
Okay.
Yes, Mayor, I might have missed a question. It's going out, breaking up pretty good for me.
Okay, well, we're glad to see you at our council meeting, and we just wanted to invite you to elaborate a little bit on the March 2020 report.
Yes. Any in particular questions? I got some COVID updates too as well.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to flip to my email here though. See if you can still hear me. Real short. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, for Lincoln Heights and Woodlawn, we just have 10 positive COVID-19 cases. I believe 6 of those are in Woodlawn and the other 4 are in Lincoln Heights.
Okay.
And as they're sending those out, they send those out every time we make a transport, or once they go to the hospital, they'll update us immediately for that. So they've actually just started creeping up here within the last 5 days. So we're kind of just starting to see cases in our area. We did increase our staffing when they started the 2-week period, the stay-at-home order, and we kind of just went back down. Weird enough, the runs shot through the roof for about a week, then everything just dropped off. I'm not sure if you guys heard too as well, like the heart attack rate dropped 300%. That's probably because nobody's going to work, but so everybody's just staying home. But that has dropped, and our runs have dropped significantly. So now with this opening back up, we're looking for the runs to tick up pretty high. So we'll see what happens with that too as well. We had one part-time employee that had to get tested, and also AC Pittman had to go get tested too as well, because they actually transported a positive COVID patient, and then they got sick within that 5-day time frame. So just a brief update on that for the COVID stuff too as well. And just from the earlier meeting too as well, I'm not sure if Ms. Donna was saying, or Ms. Polk was talking about the thermometers too as well. We have some of that stuff because we have to test our employees every day before they come in, twice a day. And we kind of stole the same check sheet from all other municipalities or businesses. So we can share that too as well. If they're coming in, if you want to take temperatures, things of that nature, we can provide that too as well for you guys, where you can get like 2 inches from them, just the temporal thermometer that'll show the temperature. And then if they do have a temperature, and then I think as Mr. I can't pronounce your name.
Mr.
Desai. Of saying what will happen after that, but we can help provide some of that equipment too as well for when the citizens are coming in.
Sounds good.
Anything else? Well, anything on the report there that needed to expound on? Any questions there?
Council, any questions?
Well, we
Vice
don't have,
Mayor?
I don't have it.
Vice Mayor?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I got something to say. I thought that it was gonna be shared. Yeah, I thought it was gonna be shared on the screen. I don't know how to look at my email and you all's beautiful face at the same time, but I'll read it later. It's okay.
I think it probably just needs to be disseminated there. And you can ask me it anytime. We did just have a fire in Lincoln Heights too as well. I did shoot that to Miss Childs on that one. The one on, I think it was Short Matthews in Chester, right on the corner. Kitchen fire there. And we had another one on Simmons. Was it Simmons? Simmons, the basement fire too as well. Within the last week and a half, we had 2 back-to-back in Lincoln Heights. Both electrical. We did get the calls and all that, both electrical. So just a lot of electrical issues going on right now. So, but it's been quiet for us overall.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, anyone?
Yes, ma'am. One more question.
Yes, Mayor.
I just want to let you know that we'll be praying for your friends on the fire department.
Yes.
And we'll be praying for all of you all, because you all on the front line, and we appreciate you.
Definitely. Thank you for that. Because there is a Springdale firefighter that is infected, Springfield Township that is infected. And there's I know a couple of officers are floating around too. So it's kind of just reaching us. So, and again, we're cleaning every 3 hours almost. So, because we're sharing beds, sharing dishes. So the 6 feet thing kind of doesn't work in the firehouse. We're just praying that we don't get sick at this point. Because we know where there are, and we're still transporting these people and just trying to do the best as possible.
God bless you.
So, yes, Ms. Goodwin-Williams.
I was just gonna say, just, with Amos reiterating the fact, or just really bringing to light that the coronavirus has now reached our area, just to maybe in a robocall, just to reinforce that information, to let people know that we are not untouchable, and we need to not be hanging out, carousing and not being safe and practicing safe distancing. So.
And we have 2 older communities as well right here that coincide and intermingle. And it usually starts, because a lot of the nursing homes and things of that nature, that's where it starts and then just spreads like wildfire. And it has mutated at this point too. So who knows what it's gonna be. So as Ms. Goodwin said.
So I did have a question for you, Chief Johnson. So as you go through between Lincoln Heights and Woodlawn, the social distancing when it comes to the different businesses, do you see any difference? What are the other businesses within Woodlawn? Are they doing anything different? Are they posting, or are they practicing the social distancing? Because we seem to have problems throughout our community where people just don't believe it.
Yeah, it's everywhere. And that's really kind of, even with the PD, and I'm not sure if the sheriffs are kind of doing the same thing too as well, they're not going into houses at all unless we're fighting somebody. They're staying out in their cars because they're around it all day long. So they're not really enforcing it because it's kind of putting themselves in the harm's way and then taking it back home. So we're just kind of waiting until it happens, because then you have to walk through every business. And like you said, there's so many different thought processes out there that it's not real, it's not this, it's not that. And I don't want to say that we're not taking it serious. Because we only have so much equipment. So we're only using it on the runs that actually require it. Because once we run out, we're out. So we're actually only using the masks that actually protect us when they're meeting all these requirements. It's the same thing. If we transport someone that's positive, we have to meet so many requirements, or they won't test us, or whatever the case may be. So it's real strenuous with us on whether we get tested or not. But definitely, if you're going out, I would put a mask on, or don't let the police and fire fool you like, oh, they don't have it on. But we're doing it for another reason, because we only have so much equipment that we have to go back in the next day. If that answered your question, Mayor, I don't even know if I did.
It did. I'm just hopeful that up in Columbus, as they continue to go back and forth with trying to, and in Washington, D.C., that they finally decide that these monies need to go to local government. And so that's something that they're going back and forth on, to try to get monies to the local municipalities, not just the small ones, the villages, the townships, not just the big cities. So I just want to encourage everybody for us to contact our state reps, our senators, because we really need funding. Just like you said, when y'all run out, y'all run out. So,
and Mayor, I'll keep you in the loop too with the current COVID cases, yourself and the safety chair. I'll just make sure you guys have those addresses, and the manager too as well, because I don't think I had you on that email chain.
No, but I think you may have an old information for me also on
that's right.
texting, but it was a texting, so I'll make sure you get that. Councilman Daniels?
Yeah, just real quick, Brother Amos, just what's the turnaround time for confirmations? Just out of curiosity. So if that, yeah.
The weird thing is it can go from 48 hours to 5 days. So sometimes we'll get a confirmation back in 48 hours and then we'll wait for 5 days. And then the other scary part is they'll tell you that somebody was negative and then 2 days later say, oh, we made a mistake. They're actually positive. So it's, yeah, the healthcare, it's real. And like, well, we just had this person around 5 other people now or a whole shift. So it's scary. It's scary. And a lot of people are rethinking their jobs too, as well, especially with family and they got other health issues at home. And then they're just running into these houses, transporting these people. And you may not get it, but you can take it home and give it to somebody else. Yeah. So it'll be interesting here especially with the demographics of our communities of seeing what's going to happen here within the next month or so. If it's going to spike back up, and it'll be very interesting.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
I just
ma'am.
wanted to, Chief Amos hit on something that I think a lot of young people around here aren't aware of, is just what he said, is that you may be asymptomatic and not showing any signs, and then you take it home to your parents or your grandmother or somebody else who has all of those ailments that make them susceptible to it. Yeah. So that's something that I don't know how to, what to do or how to do that, but we have to get people in our community to start thinking about that. Just because you don't feel bad doesn't mean you're not carrying the virus and can't pass it on to someone else who is.
Right. Right, exactly. Until you get the 50 people, then everybody's scared. Then it's shutting the whole village or whatever down at that point. Then it's too late.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much
No problem.
for that report.
Good information. Thank you.
Yeah, and we're just text me. We're super busy right now, but just text me. I will get back. I promise. Myself, Captain Brown, or Carter Pittman.
There a motion to accept Chief Amos Johnson's report?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All righty.
Mayor, can I add something real quick?
Yes, sir.
I was just particularly intrigued by the chief's discussion about the nursing homes. I think most of you know my father, who turns 90 this year, is in a nursing home. On or about March 13th, they had 130 residents. They shut the place down that weekend. So I haven't seen my father since then. But even with the shutdown, they have had 11 cases of COVID-19.
Wow.
And that, as you know, I've asked questions, is from the workers, the people that are coming there to work, because as the chief was saying, even though they did the temporal screening and, were looking for signs, they didn't have signs, but they had it, and residents got infected. So there was actually a news show on his nursing home last Thursday on the news, because basically, over 10% of the population after the shutdown got infected. There were several deaths at the nursing home back in March when this first started. So just, with the nursing homes that are in the community, whether they be Lincoln Heights, Woodlawn, whatever, it's a scary thing, because you would have thought the shutdown and the screening would have prevented any further infection, or at least minimized it significantly. And that's not the case.
Right.
We're praying for you, Mr. Desai, for you and your family, that your dad will see it through, that we all will see it through.
Thank you.
Okay. Right. Next would be committee reports. Economic Development, Councilwoman Kathy Goodwin Williams.
Yes, Mayor, I have two. They'll be brief. The first one is from February, which is dated February 3rd. The meetings came together at 6:46 p.m. All the members were present. In addition to the members was Mr. Dukes, our village manager. Just briefly, under old business, the meeting was turned over to the village manager. There were three things that we discussed. The first one was, it says a continued discussion of village's 20-year redevelopment plan. It should just say a discussion of that, because I believe that was the first time that talked about that. But we talked about it in 5-year increments. The second thing we discussed was development of the vacant lots in the adaptivity of a reuse strategy and how to adapt to reuse those properties. Also, we talked about catalytic project or discussion of catalytic projects and prioritizing the Lindy Street projects as well as the Stephen Street project as well, and how to what some of the catalysts were in bringing multiple projects together in both those locations. New business, we talked about the truck traffic restrictions on Shepherd Drive from Wayne Avenue to I-75. Also, we discussed the village-owned properties and what it would look like potentially in terms of what properties the village wanted to hold on to, and putting together, compiling a list of properties that we may want to release for sale to individuals. And then there was also discussion about the Arrow Hub District, which is right up around the Mariana Terrace area, and also had a discussion about Mariana Terrace in particular. There were no public comments, miscellaneous business. Council thanked Mr. Dukes for cleaning up the property on Congress, or having a crew clean up that property. Action items, just to continue to follow up and follow through with said projects and items mentioned above. Recommendations were just to maintain communications with our partners, the committees and council as needed. Second one was the meeting that was held on March 2nd. Meeting started at 6:30 p.m. And again, this was a continuation of the discussion about the 20-year redevelopment plan. Also, a continuation of the conversation of the vacant lots and the reuse strategy, and also a continued discussion about projects on Lindy and the Stephen Street corridor. And new business, we just had a discussion, beginning discussion of future land use. Again, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Action items and recommendations were the same as the prior month. More detail about both of those meetings can be found on record in the minutes. You can request those minutes from council clerk. That's it. Thank you.
All right. Any questions for the economic chair?
Mayor?
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Jeter.
To Ms. Kathy Goodwin Williams, where are we with the CDC? Is anything going on?
Not at this time.
Is it suspended, or it's just?
Not at this time. I don't
Okay.
have anything I can share right now.
Nothing else. I did want to ask a question about, I know maybe 2 economic meetings back, and it may be to Mr. Duke, as far as how are we coming along as far as getting our inventory of available lots? How's that coming along?
Take your mute off.
You're mute.
Yes, we've been looking at the lots, and one of the things that we had to kind of shift our strategy, being that it's grass cutting time, is to begin to make sure that the lots that the village has been cutting are village-owned lots. And so I know I've spoken to Miss Nettie Matthews about some of the lots that she was cutting and the village has been cutting in the past, but we began to kind of pull back from those lots so that we can cite the owners and begin to go after them. Because in the past, the village has been cutting a lot of lots that don't belong to us. So we right now, we're just making sure we identify those lots so that the cutting crews aren't doing a lot of work that they shouldn't be doing, and they are maintaining the ones that they should. So that's where we are with those lots, but we are still looking at trying to identify the locations that would be prime candidates for offering up to builders and developers interested in bringing new inventory into the community. So it's still just an ongoing process. And one of the biggest things that we had right before all of this occurred, the COVID-19 situation, I was trying to work with the Port Authority to get some of their resources to help facilitate this process. But the COVID-19 situation has delayed that. And additionally, I've been trying to contact Hamilton County Cages so that I can ask them to go ahead and generate us a series of maps, being that we don't have the tools in-house to expedite the process. So haven't been able to successfully reach them as of yet because of all the shutdown and work from home. So I'll just kind of continue to go at it until we can get those maps created. I pull together a list of maps that we're going to need, the village-owned properties, the vacant properties, the residential areas, as well as so that we could kind of isolate those on the map and we can bring them back to the committee and begin to say, okay, what would be ideal to retain and what wouldn't. So it's right now, it's just about everything is moving slow and we just don't have the resources available at this time, and I had mentioned that it would be beneficial or advantageous to bring the ArcGIS platform into the village so that I could manipulate the maps and begin to do some more, assessments internally. So with this whole COVID-19, it's putting a freeze on the budget as well. So I was trying to reach out to them to try to, hold off on making that expenditure if possible. So it's just a matter of getting the maps created and getting the technology in place, because going on Cages, myself, going on the online site, it doesn't give you the flexibility or the control of the map making process. So that's where we are with that, but we are moving forward. We have been identifying those lots that need our attention during the grass cutting season as well.
Mayor,
Yes, Ms.
I have a question, Mr. Dukes. You said exactly something I was thinking the last time that you mentioned that, to see if we might be able to purchase the software to create our own maps, and then the printer that prints the maps out. I mean, just to see, what the cost is, because I mean, you've been waiting on them for, quite some time. And then I think with what we're planning to do or trying to do, it might be beneficial for us to have our own software and the printer if it's, not too terribly expensive.
Well, yes, ma'am. I think the software license for a single license from ArcView, I think runs about 1,800, and then you would probably be looking at about 2,000 to 3,000 for a plotter.
For the printer.
Yes.
Yeah. And what I'll say too about the plotter, what I know about it, I mean, it has multiple uses. I usually don't tell the secret, but I use that a plotter like that to print out some of the things you saw around a couple of years ago when I was,
Like your posters and things of that nature, you
Yeah.
can use it for, like
yeah,
say.
and they banners.
Exactly. Mhm. So it has
Posters, all of
it
that.
has a notable use. Yes, it'll be highly utilized in the village. Like say when we're doing events, say for instance, if we wanted to post something on the door that was door size, or put something vinyl banner outside the building, we could do that with that plotter.
And doing that, when you have to, purchase that from someone else, the markup on that is like probably 1,000% compared to what it would cost you to do it yourself. So this might be something we might want to look into.
Yeah, and I may have to take another route. May just have to contact the director over planning and development so that I can make some contact, because even with the software, we're going to have to get the data set from the county, because they have all the GIS files and things of that nature, and the aerial photography that's updated. And speaking of aerial photography, they may require a fee from us each year they fly to take new aerial photographs. So that may be an added cost that I'll have to have that discussion with them. But I will reach out to the director to see if I can't get a little more assistance with generating those maps in the interim, so that we can kind of keep moving forward. So hopefully I can make contact prior to the and have some maps sent over prior to the upcoming Economic Development Committee meeting.
Yes, Mr. Daniels.
Just a quick question, Mr. Dukes, because I know you're talking about the GIS files. Those things are public. Just make sure I'm clear. Are you having trouble from Hamilton County of getting those GIS those files, or just the overall just getting in contact with them just to even get the process started? Because
just getting in contact with them at this point in time. So I mean, need to, in the interim, if we could go ahead and get them to plot out the maps, or at least generate them on their GIS system and send them over to us. And then in addition to go ahead and look at getting the shape files to bring into our own inventory for future use, that would be good. But the key right now is just trying to make contact.
Okay.
Okay, so Mr. Dukes, I have to ask you something. So with when it comes to assessing the properties of the village, I know Hamilton County Auditor, that side has been very useful in trying to locate, just going down the line, putting our streets in. But I want to ask you, do you have like a timeline? I know with the COVID, is there any type of timeline going into the fall where we'll be able to get assessment of the properties? Because I know we've been talking about it since October, November of last year.
Mm-hmm. Well, a lot's been going on, Mayor, in between time, but and it's like it's a really tedious process. We can get the files from the auditor, but it comes in the spreadsheet that I deliver to the members. And again, that doesn't give you the visual scale that you need to really kind of see where they are and what they are, so we can make a good assessment of which properties to keep and which properties to offer up for sale. So again, we're going to have to get that visual representation in a map format, and there's just no way to really kind of do it without the ArcGIS system.
Okay. Any questions from anyone else? Okay. All right. If there's nothing further, is there a motion to accept Economic Development February and March report?
So move to accept both reports for economic development.
Second.
It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any nays? Okay. All right. Motion in order for resolution number 2012 authorizing the finance director to increase appropriations in the capital improvement fund, municipal road fund projects, and to amend the statement of estimated resources for 2020.
Motion to read by title only.
Second.
Motion that we read by title only. I think Vice Mayor, your computer kind of froze on you there.
No. Yeah.
It was moved, it was
Second.
moved. Okay. Who gave me this? Who was the second?
Kathy
Williams.
Okay, it's been moved in second. All in favor, roll call, Ms. Randolph.
Councilman Durant Daniels,
Yes.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter,
Yes.
Councilwoman Phyllis Baber,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kathy Goodwin Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Ruby Kenzie Mumfree,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell.
Yes.
Here we have 7 aye votes, motion passed. Village of Lincoln Heights, Hamilton County, Ohio, resolution number 2020-R-12. Resolution authorizing the finance director to increase appropriations in the capital improvement fund, municipal road fund projects, and to amend the statement of estimated resources for 2020.
Motion
Mayor,
in
I
order
was,
to.
I was just
I'm
gonna
sorry.
mention, you might want to allow Ms. Pope to explain why this is being done, because it is a large dollar amount approaching $500,000.
Okay.
Didn't we talk about this in the finance meeting though?
Mhm.
Yes, but I think for the residents, so they'll know what we're voting on.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know they didn't have access to the minute.
Go ahead, Ms. Pope.
Okay, so the 400 and, what is it, 400, where's my thing now?
78,000.
478,000, that is for the Leggett and Schumart project. That is the final payment, and it came in three lump sum amounts, one for 412, one for 60, and one for 4,000. So when we receive those payments on our behalf, we have to amend our estimated resources and record it. So this is just to record the payment that was made on our behalf.
And if I could just add to that, if I understood correctly, this was money that the Ohio Public Works Commission paid directly to the contractor.
Yes.
So it's not as if the 478,000 is coming out of the village coffers. These are payments that are being made by another agency for those street improvements. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right. Motion in order to suspend the rules for resolution 2020-R-12.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Roll call, Ms. Randolph.
Councilman Durant Daniels,
Yes.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter,
Yes.
Councilwoman Phyllis Baber,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kathy Goodwin Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Ruby Kenzie Mumfree,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell.
Yes.
We have 7 aye votes, the motion passed.
Motion in order for passage of resolution 2020-R-12.
So moved.
Who made the motion?
Durant's motion, Stinson, second.
Okay. Roll call, Ms. Randolph.
Councilman Durant Daniels,
Yes.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter,
Yes.
Councilwoman Phyllis Baber,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kathy Goodwin Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Ruby Kenzie Mumfree,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell.
Yes.
We have 7 aye votes, the motion passed.
Oh, there's a motion, emergency clause. Motion for the emergency clause of resolution 2020-R-12.
So
So
moved for
moved.
the emergency clause. Second.
I was like, y'all
Yes,
sounded
Ms.
like.
Mitchell and then Vice Mayor. All right.
Was
Roll
it Ms.
call, Ms.
Mitchell? Did
I
you
thought
say
it was
that?
Miss Jeters.
It was me.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
I apologize, Ms. Jeters. Okay,
All right, moved and second, roll call, Ms. Randolph,
Councilman Durant Daniels,
Yes.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter,
Yes.
Councilwoman Phyllis Baber,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kathy Goodwin Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Ruby Kenzie Mumfree,
yes.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell.
Yes.
We have 7 aye votes. The motion passed.
All righty. Is there any miscellaneous business?
Everybody just continue to be safe. As Mr. Johnson, said that we had 3 cases here in Lincoln Heights. Just everybody please just be safe. And yeah, that's pretty much I had. We're praying for everybody.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I want to announce that my ex-husband's funeral is on the 9th of May. It is limited to family.
Our
It's on
prayers are-
Facebook too.
Our prayers are with you, Ms. Childs Jeter, you and your family.
Thank you.
Mayor,
Vice Mayor,
I'd like to remind everybody, if they didn't know, that Mayor Susan Upton Farley's services will be this Saturday, May
2nd.
2nd. And it's the same time as the pantry, as Ms. Mitchell had mentioned before, starting at 9 to 11, then the funeral. And I believe it is open to the public at Woodlawn Mount Zion on Susan Farley Boulevard.
Vice Mayor, the funeral is open to the public? I thought it was just the viewing.
The viewing, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think the funeral is closed.
And they're practicing social distancing. I don't know how that's gonna work.
so the funeral is at Lincoln Heights Baptist
Yes.
also,
No.
right?
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah,
I thought it was them.
changed it.
It
It
changed.
was
Lincoln Heights
going-
Baptist.
They changed it.
They changed it.
Wow, I didn't get that memo. Okay.
Vice Mayor, I got a text today from Debbie Rose, her sister, and it's changed to Lincoln Heights Missionary Baptist.
Well, some good news. I'd like to make an announcement that on that same day, May 2nd, I'm turning 25 again.
All right. I'm gonna have to get you some balloons. I'll put them on your door.
Put them outside
Put a
on foot
cupcake.
because I am practicing distancing.
Okay.
But thank you.
I'll have my gloves and mask on when I put them there.
I'm gonna buy you some red heels and a leather skirt.
All right, you go, girl, because I am turning 25 again now.
All right. Well, if there's nothing further, is there a motion for an adjournment?
Yes, there is. Motion for adjournment.
Second.
It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Ayes have it. Good night. Be safe.
Good night.
Take care, you
Good night.
guys.